Today I'm going to tell you about this HDMI cable. It may look like just any other ordinary cable, but it is in fact the best cable. And not only because of its purple color or because it's made by Gerald Undone and Kondor blue in the United States of America. Well, let's get undone. What's happening, everybody? I'm David with HML, and effectively I'm the cable guru now. So I buy a lot of HDMI cables, and it's because I use them daily, and it has nothing to do with me building an AI robot army, despite what the gamers in my neighborhood whisper. And every time I get a new tangle of cables, yeah, that's what a group of cables is called, a tangle, I inspect them looking for the best one. I figure that if I inspect a selection of 8 cables twice a week for roughly 25 years, that's over 20,000 cables I've inspected. And it took me the full 20,000 cables to find this one, the best HDMI cable. Again, I'm not building a robot army. So, what makes this the best HDMI cable? Well, first off, its ideal length. Now, most other cable reviewers at this point would pull out their Kleiman's official cable tape and take some standard measurements of length and thickness. They would tell you how those deviate, and the comment section would undoubtedly fill up with timestamps to the measurements seen with low-hanging cable humor. I, however, am a true cable connoisseur. I know that the only correct way to measure an HDMI cable is by how many times you can wrap it around your forearm without losing signal quality, and there is only one correct answer here. It's 5. Any more wraps and you're risking a tangled mess of cables. Any fewer and you lose the ability to reach devices comfortably placed around your setup. And as you might expect from the best HDMI cable, we're getting 4.8 wraps, which is the best score I've ever measured and deserving of special recognition. Now, signal quality is obviously crucial as well. And when it comes to signal quality, the best HDMI cables merely whisper their presence instead of the overzealous interference provided by low-quality and counterfeit cables. Well, I use this particular cable in a few places at the same time right now, and I promise you it's the most harmonious, neutral, and elegantly impartial signal transmission available on the market today. And trust me, this video is not sponsored by Monster or Belkin or any of the other big players in the cable game. Now, obviously, when you come across a product as seemingly perfect as this HDMI cable, you're left wondering if some tampering has occurred. Sometimes, these manufacturers know how to engineer a product just right in order to beat the common test that our viewers use. It doesn't mean the cable is perfect. It just means it's perfect at passing rudimentary cable tests. So to prevent being duped by those nefarious wire frauds, I sent off some core samples of the HDMI cable to the cable lab to be analyzed. And to my surprise, the results came back overwhelmingly pure, testing at 98% high-quality copper and 2% rare earth metal. So there's no evidence of cable tampering, meaning we truly are in the presence of a rare and fabled wire. Now, as most of you know, there's a lot of contention in the community about which color an HDMI cable should be for optimal performance. Some of you might argue that the color of the cable doesn't impact its signal quality. I, on the other hand, subscribe to the philosophy of wearing the clothes for the job you want and not for the ones you have. And so the cable color is crucial for its top-notch performance. I've also noticed that most of these arguments are purely subjective and not grounded by science or facts. There seems to be a heavy emotional component to these debates as well, likely fueled by the attachment to a particular brand or color they were exposed to in their youth. They've come to associate that memory with a particular shade of cable and refuse to hear any opinions promoting cables of any other hue. What you may not know, however, is that a governing body has already settled this dispute by developing the specification CS1420, more commonly known as the cable shade standard. Basically, if we analyze this HDMI cable or any other cable on a colorimeter, we can see how closely it follows or conversely deviates from that ideal color shade, which is basically just a reference color that the cable scientists use to determine how close a cable's hue is to the optimal. And in the case of this undone purple cable, you guessed it, it falls precisely within the optimal cable shade range. Now, we could go further and test conductivity and the shielding effectiveness against interference. We could send away for a durability analysis. There's even some interesting stuff being done by the Swiss in zero-G environments. But those aren't going to tell us anything about the particular cable that's in front of us. By the time we get those results back, this cable might be replaced with a newer model. And that's the most interesting thing about the best HDMI cable. It's a fleeting thing. It's important to appreciate it now while it's here, before it becomes outdated and the person you live with decides to put it in a drawer, promising they're gonna use it in some future setup. But then you find that the cable all tangled and forgotten in the back of the drawer a year later. While they simultaneously try to convince you that it makes sense to buy even more new HDMI cables, perpetuating the original problem, rather than just repurposing the old ones. When the visionary sci-fi poet J.R. Galaxio penned the poem The Starlit Odyssey and concluded it with, "Through the cosmic void we wander, through the starlit path we ponder, not with an HDMI cable, but with a distant beacon's glimmer," I believe it was this specific cable he was referring to. Alright, I'm done. Okay, this video was obviously a parody on Gerald Undone's banana video, which is absolutely genius. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out right here. And with that said, this is Gerald Undone's actual HDMI cable. It's just a very high quality short HDMI cable that was made in collaboration with Kondor Blue, who make awesome cables and camera gear. And the only difference between this cable and Kondor Blue's original cable is that this one is purple instead of blue. Definitely go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's an awesome cable to connect to external monitors, capture cards, and other short connections in your video setup. Not much to add here. It's 12-inch to 24-inch, supports HDMI 2, up to 4K 60, HDR, 3D, and all in all, it's just a very good cable. With that said, it's Gerald Undone's, so it's purple, right? The right color. Right, I hope this video was entertaining. Let me know if I should do more parodies of YouTubers and their products. This video isn't about an algorithm, but speaking of the algorithm, don't forget to like and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm that more people should see it. See you next time with another digital life hack. Bye!